Hello, NFC North. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't. I do Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. It's a good week in the power rankings. Grossi, and today we are going to be breaking down and ranking the top 10 teams heading into week 7 this NFL season. That's right, folks. As week 6 has concluded, we're about a third of the way through the regular season already. Things are flying by. Identities are starting to be formed, and especially in the top 5, there's not too much change. However, there's some newcomers on this list that I think will be quite interesting. So, starting off with number 10, you got the Washington Commanders still holding strong in the top 10. And there's a few reasons why the Commanders are still in the top 10. 1, they're a pretty damn good football team. 2, they were tested by the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday, and it was their toughest test of the season. And even though Jane Daniels didn't get the win, he's still impressed.
I have so much to learn from you.
Yes, you do. I told Dwight that there is honor in losing, which, as we all know, is completely ridiculous. But there is, however, honor in making a loser feel better.
Without Brian Robinson, Jaden Daniels was also their leading rusher, and considering how close that game was until the end when you had the Ravens seal it, this is a pretty big moral victory for the Commanders. And yes, I'm not a big moral victory guy, but considering the Commanders and looking at the state of their team heading into this year, looking at their defense and definitely missing pieces, they traded away some massive players. This is a pretty good outcome. Jaden Daniels has proven these first 6 weeks that he is more than capable of leading this franchise to success and going up against a great team who is also in the top 10 in the Baltimore Ravens. I think this is as close as a moral victory as you could possibly get in the NFL. They're still leading their division, and honestly, looking at the rest of it, it's not really impressive in the NFC East. And so with all those things considered, I gotta give props to the leading team in the NFC East thus far, and that is the Washington Commanders. And Wildflower approves. Number 9. You got the Chicago Bears. Bears, welcome to the power rankings. I don't like it here. Caleb Williams, looking pretty good, even if the rest of the division doesn't want to admit it.
He is the chosen one. You must see it.
Clouded this boy's future is.
But Caleb Williams, and I've talked about this numerous times now, has been getting better ever since that fourth quarter against the Colts. And week by week, you've seen him improve. You look at that Texans game where he was constantly under pressure. CJ Stroud is like, keep your head up. And Caleb's like, oh, I will. And then decided to play really damn well. And there's a couple reasons why this is happening. 1, the Bears defense is really good. That's been evident throughout the entire season. 2, their run game. DeAndre Swift, you get him out in space, he's a damn good running back. But they've been committing to that run game and allowing Caleb Williams to lean on it a bit. And look, they're doing better. And on top of that, Caleb Williams' game is definitely improving. Whether it's extending plays, the play calling, at least this past week, was much better with Shane Waldron, and I gotta give him credit for it. Now, you will have critics who will say, hey, the Bears haven't really played anybody, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't really like that argument. I think it's good in terms of, hey, maybe they're not a top 5 team, but they're beating the teams that are in front of them, and that's not the Bears' fault. And in the NFL, as we know, there are no easy victories. Unless you're playing the Panthers. Unless you're the Raiders. Sorry, Raiders. But looking at the Bears right now, I think they are deserving of a top 10 spot. We're going to see how good they are as they start to face some stiffer competition as we go along with this season. But as of right now, Bears fans, the hopium is flowing. And who knows? Maybe Caleb Williams is the chosen one. Number 8. Had to do it to him. You got the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. Woo! So this is what a healthy Packers team can look like. The Packers stomping the Arizona Cardinals 34-13. Defense, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. The offense looking phenomenal. Jordan Love, 4 touchdowns on the day. Back-to-back home games with 4 touchdowns. The first guy since 1995 with the name of Brett Favre to do it in Green Bay. and this was a complete and total victory. Yeah, Narveson missed a kick, but you gotta love how resilient this team has been this season. Jordan Love goes out at the end of week 1. Malik Willis comes in, wins 2 games, and yeah, had a tough game against the Vikings, even though they rallied back and are now finding themselves on a win streak. Jair Alexander returning this week. He had a fumble recovery. Christian Watson returning this week. He had a touchdown. And to see this team rally around Romeo Doubs after catching that TD,
my emotions! My emotions!
it's so beautiful. But the Packers, I think, deserve to be in the top 10 with the way they've played the past couple of weeks. And you can make the same argument with the Bears, to be honest with you, of who have they played. However, I think the Packers, with the amount of turnovers that they're forcing, they're leading the NFL. And considering how explosive that offense can be, I think the Packers edge out the Bears for now. And we'll see when they play a little bit later in the season. But right now, the Green Bay Packers are rolling. They have their biggest test yet against the Houston Texans coming up this week, which should be a fantastic game. And so, yes, 2 teams in the NFC North finding their way into the top 10. Will there be more? Yes. Number 7, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs, woo, go up 17-0. Looks like it's going to be a blowout of the Saints. And then the Saints scored 27 in the second quarter. And things got scary for a hot second. And then they were like, okay, never mind. We're pretty good. Sean Tucker, he might already be a fan favorite in Tampa.
I've only had Arlo for a day and a half, but if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself.
The Buccaneers, who have been struggling to find their run game, even though Bucky Irving has been pretty damn solid this year, they found it against the New Orleans Saints, and they put up 51 points against them. Even though Baker Mayfield threw 3 interceptions, he also made up for it by throwing 4 touchdowns. And this offense, if they have found that run game, could be a very dangerous team. Antoine Winfield Jr. coming back and making a big play right out of the gate. And with the Buccaneers, their number 1 competitor in the NFC South seems like it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. And we saw what that game looked like on primetime, and it was phenomenal. And right now, the Buccaneers are playing pretty damn solid football. They face adversity in this game after jumping out to a big lead, then losing that lead, and then regaining it and just piling on points. Yeah, the Buccaneers definitely deserve a spot in the top 10, and that's why they land themselves at number 7. Number 6, you got the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons defeating the Carolina Panthers and also proving, hey, this is why you draft 2 running backs. Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson, both having fantastic games. And with this win, the Falcons have now won 3 straight games. And I think everyone in Atlanta is starting to believe.
Life is good. You know what I mean?
And while it is still against the Panthers, sorry, Carolina, there is still a lot of room for optimism with Atlanta right now because they were playing some pretty damn good football. Kirk Cousins is playing efficient football. He's not turning the ball over, and that's what you want to see. I think there's still some questions about that defense. We'll see how the Falcons face some stiffer competition as their season continues, but right now, Falcons coming in at number 6, and they're just going to keep on flying high. Number 5, you got the Detroit Lions. The Lions, they got their revenge on the Cowboys, but they lost Hutch.
What did it cost?
Everything.
A sound beating of the Dallas Cowboys, putting up nearly 50 points against them. Their defense playing incredible football. Dak Prescott having one of his worst days of the season. And yeah, this seems just pretty damn hollow. And there's a lot to be excited about if you're a Lions fan. The offense looking incredible. Monty, Gibbs, Sonic, Knuckles, fantastic. Jared Goff playing phenomenal football. But it just comes down to the loss of Hutch. And I'm keeping the Lions in the top 5 because we just don't know what this team is going to look like without Aiden Hutchinson. Obviously, that is going to be a very tough hole to fill. However, I'm sure they're already on the phone trying to make a trade for somebody to fill that spot. And looking at the Lions going forward, if they are able to at least recoup some of the production that Hutch had, I still think they're going to be a very solid football team. I don't think that their season's over or this ends their potential Super Bowl aspirations. However, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to adapt with his absence. However, looking at the offensive side of the ball, they are running on all cylinders. They embarrassed the Dallas Cowboys. You have offensive linemen trying to score touchdowns on multiple plays. And yeah, Dan Campbell is coaching his ass off right now. And I gotta give all the props to the Lions and a very speedy recovery to Aiden Hutchinson. And Lions, you remain in the top 5 for now, going up against the Vikings next week. Let's see what you got. Number 4, You got the Houston Texans, otherwise known as the Strouds, putting the beatdown on the New England Patriots this past week, scoring 41 points. And CJ Stroud having another great game against a good defense. And the biggest story is Joe Mixon coming back, who they desperately missed. Broke out in week 1, having another great game against the Patriots this week. And the Strouds, they're without Nico, but they still have a tank.
So you got a tank. Big whoop. Want to fight about it?
The Strouds are heading to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers this Sunday. And as I mentioned for the Packers, this is going to be just a great test for both organizations to see where they are. The Texans and the Packers don't play each other very often, but you have two up-and-coming quarterbacks, two teams that are looking good right now and have some momentum, and I think this is going to be an excellent game. And so the Strouds, they're playing some phenomenal football right now, both on the defensive side and, of course, with their offense. Let's see what the Packers got for them and see if they can either climb up these power rankings or fall. Number 3, you got the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens in a close game with the Washington Commanders this past Sunday. And oh boy, this is why they signed Derrick Henry. And considering that he is already over 700 rushing yards this season, it seems like King Henry is running the show in Baltimore.
I'm the president, I'm the emperor, I'm the king. I'm Michael Jackson, you Tito.
Zay Flowers also having a big game. Mark Andrews had 3 receptions and even a touchdown. They remember that he finally existed. And while I got to give a lot of props to the Commanders for hanging in with the Baltimore Ravens, the Ravens did a nice job of controlling this game and sealing it away when they had to. And I've mentioned this a few times in previous episodes, but I can only imagine what this running attack is going to look like when they get back Keaton Mitchell. And if he is healthy, it is going to be a lot of fun in Baltimore. But the Ravens these past few weeks have shown that they can win in a variety of ways. They can control the clock with the ground game. They can go all out like they did against the Bengals and just throw it all over the place. But right now, the Ravens are a damn good football team, solidly leading the AFC North. And considering the Bengals are barely beating the Giants, the Browns are doing whatever the hell they're doing, and the Steelers are the biggest competition right now, the Ravens are in prime position to continue their success as their season goes forward. And yeah, Ravens playing pretty damn good ball. Number 2, you got the purple incarnation of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is the first time that all 4 teams in the NFC North have entered the power rankings. And I know this is about the Vikings, but it's okay. I don't want to talk about them right now. The NFC North has been phenomenal this season. Not only are they the only division where every single team has a winning record, they're leading in point differential, they're leading in points scored, they're leading in turnovers, their defenses are all looking good. This division right now, it feels pretty damn good to be a part of. And the Vikings, unfortunately, are leading the way. And the rest of the division ruined the Vikings bye week, and the Lions, they could do it again.
You've ruined my morning, you've ruined my lunch, and you're ruining my...
The Vikings coming off a bye have a massive matchup with the Lions this upcoming week. Being played in Minneapolis, I think is going to make a big difference. And like I said before, without Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions, we're going to see how good the Vikings match up with that Lions secondary and see if they can put up points. Sam Darnold, I think there is a little bit of concern, didn't play his best game against the Jets, but this offense has been super duper efficient, and they're still waiting for TJ Hawkinson to come back. So if Aaron Jones and Hawkinson can get healthy, this offense should be able to find its rhythm against a good Lions team. And all I know is it's going to be an epic showdown. I can't wait for it, and I hope they both tie. Just in case the T didn't come out. I don't want them to die. And number 1, no surprise here, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. And although the Chiefs and Vikings both stay undefeated during their bye week, the Chiefs remain at number 1.
All due respect, you got no an idea what it's like to be number 1. It's too much to deal with almost.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
This is the course I've chosen.
And the reason why the Chiefs are at number 1 right now is because look at the divisions. The NFC North, best division in football. The AFC West, The Broncos falling to the Chargers this week. The Chargers look like they're getting a bit more healthy, so maybe they can contend against the Chiefs. But then again, they got shut out for 3 out of 4 quarters when they faced off against Kansas City. And the Raiders, well, they just traded Devontae Adams, not like he was doing much for them anyway. But the Raiders, they have no offense. So the Chiefs, they're far and away right now in the best position because not only are they undefeated, their defense is looking great. Oh yeah, and their division is absolute garbage. So because of that, they're going to win some games and already put in a better position than the Vikings are right now. And of course, the Chiefs are dealing with significant injuries, and maybe they'll make some moves to try and rectify that and get some pieces before the trade deadline. But right now, I don't think there's any betting against the Chiefs. They got a Super Bowl rematch against the 49ers this upcoming Sunday, which should be a fun matchup. And right now, Kansas City is running the league, and we'll see if anybody can stop them. And so just to recap, at number 1, you got the Chiefs, 2 Vikings, 3 Ravens, 4 Texans, 5 Lions, 6 Falcons, 7 Buccaneers, 8 Packers, 9 Bears, and 10 Commanders. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you think should be on this list? Who should be off it? Let me know. You know, I saw me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media see down below. A big shout out and thank you to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.